about the opiate epidemic. You know, medication is pretty important in our society. It was about 20 years ago or so. I don't know which medical associations decided that we had to focus on helping people live with their pain, so that you give them pain medication to be able to deal with it. There were drugs that were out there, but they required being used, I think, 3-4 times a day. Then the pain medication that's out there now, the drug manufacturers came out and said, oh, it would only take about 2 times a day. So everybody said, that's easier. We can prescribe those. That'll keep our patients under control. As we know, it didn't work because it was more than 2 times a day. These people take it 3-4 times a day. They take double, triple, quadruple the dose that they were given. They buy it on the streets, and then because the heroin's cheaper, they don't have to shoot it up. They can buy that on the streets and start rolling with it, smoke it, do whatever it is. And now we have the barn door open, and we just have this incredible opiate epidemic issue. How do we deal with it? You know, there's really only a couple ways to do this, but one of the ways is to close the barn door so we don't have more people fall into this. And then we can deal with the population. It's not going to be easy. It's a gigantic population, but we have to close the barn door first. And how do you do this? You limit the amount of drugs that a doctor or a dentist or a prescriber can give to a patient for their pain. We're not talking hospice. We're not talking, that 1 or 5% of the time when it's just, these people need this incredible amount of drugs. We're talking the 95 to 99% of the people who don't need it. When the doctors prescribe it, they should only be allowed, doctors, dentists, whoever the prescribers are, should only be allowed to prescribe it for 5 or 7 days, and then be required to see their patients at the end of whatever it is, 5 or 7 days, to make sure that they need more so they can't just call in for more of a prescription. Because it's too easy to get hooked on this stuff. You take 2, you take 3, you take 4, you just start pumping them down. And you don't just do that, you start taking your other prescription medicines. Everything mixes, it only gets worse. Then you don't have insurance, you run out, and you buy the stuff on the street. Now, the major part of the problem is doctors don't get paid for their patients to come back in again to get checked. And that's one way we're going to have to change it. Maybe we do it in a controlled atmosphere. Maybe it's in a Medicaid plan. Maybe it's in Medicare. I don't know, Part B or Part D. I don't know. But we have to jump this immediately and then make sure these doctors or dentists, if these people have to come back in again, get paid for that next visit if the insurance is covering it. But you have to make these people come in, because if they now have to come in, these patients, most of them aren't going to want to come in to get more. They're going to go, hey, okay, it's only going to be those few who really need it. They're going to want to come in. And if you really don't need it and you have to come in and fake, you're going to have a hard time faking in front of your doctor. And the doctor then is not going to be as willing to give you a new prescription or extend your prescription. But we have to close the barn door, and it's on the doctors and the dentists and the prescribers. They are the only ones. I don't want to hear about, they talk about the reps that come in, the drug reps. They're really salespeople. Their job is to sell the doctors, the dentists, and everybody else. The job of the doctors and the dentists are to heal. Do no evil and heal. That's what you got to do. So maybe that's our first start. We start going with it. We're going to talk about more. I have some friends who are really involved in this. But we have to close the barn door. Let's close that barn door. Let's put in these rules. Let's make it tough. Let's make it tough for the patients. And let's reimburse our doctors. And if the dentists are covered under insurance, them also. So that if they bring their patients back in to double check to make sure they need an extension or a new prescription, then they get paid for that time. Otherwise, the patients do not get a new prescription. They are limited. That's the way to close the barn door. Tough? Yeah. Will it work? It'll work on the great majority. Not on everything, but it'll work on the great majority, because the great majority, 99% of the doctors, dentists, and prescribers out there are good people who really care and only want to help their patients. Let's see if maybe this can start things. Sure is an easier way to get things moving. Peace.